Okay, sorry I didn't get a video put out for you yesterday. I've just been doing too much of that stuff for the moment, so I needed to take a break. And that's the way it is. But either way, I'm still here. I still have a pack of cards, and I'm still prepared to talk to you because that's like cool and fun and the way things are. And my god, it's hot. We can have temperatures of like 38 or 40 degrees Celsius here in the UK over the next couple of days. I know there's hotter parts of the world out there, but we English, we aren't bred or designed or brought up to deal with it. So please forgive me if my video creation goes downhill. Now I'm just cutting the cards because it's worthwhile. I'm not quite sure why I'm wearing this hat indoors. It makes me look like I'm expecting the ultraviolet is going to like penetrate the roof of the house. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm trying to do everything I can to protect myself from it. So I'm just going to do a very short little reading for you today, just for fun, just for pleasure. Maybe it'll mean something to you, maybe it won't. And we'll try and expand the kind of like shape of it. So I don't think you've seen me do a Celtic cross spread for a long while. So I'm sitting here in front of the TV with that just like going on in the background. There we go. Extreme heat warning. Extreme heat warning. Which is of course like great fun. And that's what it's going to look like. There we go. It's going to look like that. A whopping great pool of extreme heat, of which I will be somewhere within. So the quantity of like fizzy mineral water I've got in the fridge, the quantity of like caffeine-free Diet Coke I've got in the fridge, is like there's a lot there. Because I'm just going to end up just like intravenously taking cold drinks. It's just the way it's going to be. Alright, so Celtic cross spread for you. So why I'm doing this is so that you can see basically what the structure of the Celtic cross spread is. For those of you who don't know, it's kind of like a bit of a classic in the world of tarot. And of course, you know, you can vary it, you can change it, you can add whatever else you want into it if you're doing readings for yourself or for your family or whatever. But it's like in your mind's eye, you've got to know to yourself what the positions are, and you've got to have a good understanding as to what the symbolism is to a certain degree, as well as allowing free rein for your subconscious mind, your creativity, and any form of inspiration that might come in from any other source can then interject and say, well, hang on a minute, maybe it means this. Okay, does that make sense? It might make sense to you, it might not make sense to you, I don't know. But as you know, I've got a comment section down below, and you can just like put, you know, comments in it. It's a comment section. It's actually a comment section where you can put comments in. I mean, how inspired is that? I'm telling you. There we go, there's some temperatures on the screen there. I don't know if you can see them. Bloody hell. It looks terrible. And there we go, 40 degrees. 40 friendly degrees Celsius on Monday. Oh my god, I am not looking forward to that. Alright, because what we used to do in the old days before global warming was a thing, was we used to go on holiday to hot countries. Okay, to get away from the grey, the cold, the wet. Alright, nowadays I think people would be like holidaying in like Greenland or some shit like that. I mean, oh god. Anyway, here is a Celtic cross spread. Alright, it contains two principal parts. You got the cross, which is this area here, and then you've got your staff cards. Now, what is the importance of this particular structure? It's a way of analyzing where you are as a person today with the help of symbolism and the language of tarot, and what it is you know about yourself and what it is you know about your situation. And this bit here, that's kind of like your progression into the future, which would be totally accurate if it wasn't for that position there, which is for something unexpected. Okay, so you could actually put that slightly off center, so to speak, to remind you that that's short-term, medium-term, and long-term future, and that one there is for anything else which is unexpected coming along, which might be a bit contrary to the standard routes or path you see in the short-term, medium-term, and long-term cards. Does that make sense, right? And then we got what would all this be to do with at the moment. Okay, the two in the middle, that's essentially you at the moment. Things you're subconsciously aware of and things you're consciously aware of. Alright? In an extension of that, there's things which are around you and are taking predominance, and then there's things which are around you and could still affect you, but might be much more, subtle, subliminal, subconscious mind, some kind of other in-depth aspects of yourself or of your situation or the people around you, which hasn't yet come to the surface, but could still be detrimental or could still be positive. Okay, got your reflection upon the past, the anticipation of the future, which, as you can see, is separate from what the reading is suggesting is the actual future, because the actual future is in your staff cards, because we've got a staff there, it's a vertical line, it's a staff, okay, whereas the cross has a different meaning to it. So the reflection on your past, in this particular case, if you got the Queen of Swords, it could be that there was someone who was controlling you, someone or something influencing you, which maybe even got the better of you, but that's in the past now. Maybe you're still dealing with it subconsciously or psychologically, the fact that there was this power over you of someone who really didn't qualify to have power over you. Does that make sense? Are you still recovering from it? Are you still growing from it? Are you still learning from it? Alright, your anticipation of the future is quite happy, because the Fool can speak of an almost childlike state of joy. But it can also speak about moving forwards foolhardishly, namely not taking into account all the concerns which you've actually got to look after. So maybe that's a bit of a message to you to look after the small things, the small details, the things that you would otherwise overlook, and to do some intelligent planning for the future, because you can't allow yourself to be too sanguine. A little bit of, being calm, being relaxed, being able to take life in its stride is one thing, but going to that extreme of like taking life in your stride, but unfortunately it goes a bit the other way, and you get a bit like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, because like you're not paying attention to all the things that need looking after, then you could be in trouble. So there's a feeling of a warning there, to look after the small things and don't get too sanguine, don't get yourself too wrapped up in your desire to feel good, that you're not doing everything which is right for your survival and which is emotionally generous to those around you, because they could be useful to you with the passage of time. Does that make sense? Now, when we're talking about the awareness cards here, alright, there is something around you bumbling on in the background which could be detrimental to you, or could be used as an engine to try and spur you into a better way of life. Alright, so sometimes we get criticism, negative forces, negative things happening to us, but sometimes we can learn from them and refine our lives as a result of that. So I guess that there's a sense there of a need to take philosophically some of the negative challenges which come along in your life. Alright, whether it's to do with arguments with family, with friends, whether it's to do with issues with your boss. Sometimes they might even have, not necessarily for them to be right, but they may have a point. Okay, they may have something to contribute or bring to the table. Even in the dark times, the difficult times, the times of financial crisis, the times of medical crisis, there can always be something we can get from that. And there's some more hot wind coming up from Spain in order to attack England. It's, yeah, great. Right. Now, this one reversed. It's called Prudence. But it's not telling you to throw caution to the wind just because it's reversed. It's a question of, like, be aware of what you need to be cautious about. Be aware of the things you need to be wary of. Alright, but to take the right philosophical and balanced attitude and to work out what really is going to affect you and what isn't. Because sometimes your mind runs away with you, and maybe you end up being afraid of something which isn't necessarily all that important. Okay, now the signs for yourself in the here and now. Alright? You can be quite a loving, quite a warm, quite a friendly individual, but not everyone sees it. And not everyone sees it for some reason. Okay, it feels like this is somehow hidden. Your goodness is somehow hidden, and maybe there's ways in which you can get your goodness to the fore so people can understand what you're really about. A bit of gentle, loving self-promotion, not to try and explain what you're not to somebody else, but to try and show people, your true colours in a positive way, which I think would be really, really important and useful. Because not everyone knows what you think and what you feel, or why you think and why you feel it. Maybe you need to talk more about what your thoughts and feelings really are. Maybe there's some way in which you're holding yourself back through communicating about the next right thing. And then, your inner world. Your inner world seems to be based upon Fear of all the things you've done wrong. Maybe you're carrying too much of a burden. Maybe there's a sense of weight about this card. Maybe there's a sense of heaviness about your soul. Maybe you've got all these things which you're still holding on to, which you just need to find a way of relaxing, putting in perspective, and letting go of, so that you can move forward with life. Does that make sense? Does it? I don't know. Got a comment section there, write stuff in it, because it's there for you to write stuff in it. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up, because thumbs up are always good, because it helps the channel, and subscribe if you haven't. And also there's a little dingly bell thing, you can click that if you want. And don't forget, if you like the content I'm putting out and you want to give me some super thanks, there's even a super thanks button, which is in the shape of a heart with a $sign, which is great. If you can't afford to put any money in that direction, then don't. But if you can, then do, because it's the cost of living crisis and I'm asking for it. Okay? Simple. All right. Now, projection. Your short term, your medium term, and the long term future is actually quite bright and sunny. I mean, if you were to think about just the contrast between that one there, which has all the things that could undermine you in it, okay, and you got this one here, what do you notice? The first thing you notice is the fact that the colours are different. There's more order and structure in this. It's a little bit more plain. You can see everything in it. This one's got a bit too much activity in it. It's also dark, gloomy, it's red, it's black, it's there's a sense of like, oh my god, what am I going to do about this one here? Whereas this one here is more like a directed, focused attention in a particular direction, so you can achieve something magical. So that's your first 3 months' time. Maybe it's saying that if you learn the lessons of what I mentioned on with the Fool card and with the cards here, maybe you'll be able to have that progression into the future. Maybe that 3 month period is when you take your contemplation and put that into action, as well as putting actions into action. Right, does that make sense? Does that help you? Does that help you to think better about stuff? I don't know. But you do. Comment section. Use it. We got a reverse Three of Cups, kind of like a celebratory atmosphere to it, not necessarily with a bitter twist to it, despite the fact the card is reversed. This one's looking quite positive and optimistic and thrusting forward. This one's looking like a time of celebration, sitting down with someone, having a drink, being rather proud of yourself, but there's a certain tone to it, a certain twist. There's literally a twist to it, alright? And the twist could easily be the fact that maybe your victory may at times seem a little hollow. Maybe there's extra things you need to do in order to make your successes and your victories more real, and without hurting other people on the way. Your long-term signs, very celebratory, very relaxed, very warm, very friendly, very positive, and a sense of conviviality. The number there is higher than the number there, so that also suggests progress. Still reversed, so maybe even during the next, not just 0 to 3 months or 3 to 6 months, but also 6 to 9 months, there will still be work based upon all the lessons you learnt over here, which you have to deploy. And then there'll be something very positive, unexpected coming your way at some point, which could be to do with the material world. It could be a financial gift. It could be something to do with the way in which things are working out for you when it comes to organizing and structuring life. Okay? But it's something to do with the practical, something to do with the down-to-earth, something to do with the mundane, the stuff you need to live on, okay? The food on your plate, the shirt on your back, the roof over your head, looking after all these things. Or maybe it's a question of contribution in terms of charity or charitable work or your time, so that others can benefit and others can start to bring themselves into a time of happiness and success and stability as a result of changing the things they're doing in their lives, brought about by your effort. I mean, the wealth card, the 10 of coins, it's not just a question of, hey man, this time next year we're going to be rich. It's a question of how you're thinking about wealth, how you're thinking about money, how you're thinking about how your effort should be used for your betterment and the betterment of anyone else in your immediate society, the compass of your own life, as well as further outside the boundaries of that. Okay? Emotional generosity, yes. Financial generosity, if you can afford it, if it's right. Or maybe you can do something for free for charity. I'm acting in a charity pantomime, which is great. I'm not getting anything from it at all in any way whatsoever, apart from some companionship. But I'm doing it because there's people out there who need financial support. So, we'll be helping homeless charities, bereavement charities, and that kind of stuff. So, I'm trying to live in part of the moral message of that card. because it's, you know, my life is not just about me. My life is about me living a life which can help and benefit others. Right, does that make sense? So from that, hopefully you've got a bit of an understanding as to what the Celtic cross spread is, why it's structured the way it is, and indeed you can start thinking about whether that's something you can use for your contemplation or for your meditations upon yourself, upon your life, something you can use alongside mindfulness, and also something that, you know, just could be used as an addition to your psychic reading skills. I mean, this whole thing can be used, tarot itself can be used by people who don't believe in anything, all right, apart from maybe art, colour, symbols. And you can just create a story based upon what you see there and what information seems to be coming to you or not, as the case may be. Try and do a few like secular tarot readings without any new ageness, without any occultness at all in it. Okay, just try it and just see how you get on. And once in a while you'll end up saying something or thinking something or doing something in a reading or having an experience in one of these secular atheistic type readings. And what you can do with that is think to yourself, hang on a second, you know, that shouldn't have happened, that information should not have come in, that point of view, that perspective, that idea shouldn't have happened, where did it come from? Aha. And then those of you who are dyed-in-the-wool followers of the various atheist pundits will probably say, well, it's all subconscious mind, it's all subconscious mind. But once in a while, something will happen at some point that will make you think, well, yeah, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't just that. Maybe there's some other source of information coming to me. Now, that won't be enough for you to start believing in ghosts or angels or demons or spirits. But it might be enough to make you ask questions of those who have given authoritative explanations as to how the universe works. I look forward to speaking to you again soon, provided, of course, I haven't melted in the heat.